Hello YouTube, welcome to the Evian blog. So today I just thought, well, it's a Sunday. I'm sitting here in the office busy doing some backups and some work, and I thought, well, let's chat a little bit about IT as a whole. There are a lot of companies in the IT field, many of them maybe not necessarily knowing exactly what they're doing. Many of them have an idea of what they're doing, but maybe spend too much time doing it, and yet there's others that do know what they're doing but also rip the customers off. So today I thought, well, let's just chat a little bit about the IT industry in South Africa as a whole. I suppose maybe the rest of the world things are going very similarly, but in South Africa there seems to be a massive problem with people offering services in the IT field, especially services that they're actually not trained for or familiar with. Now, where this becomes a problem, every day, no problem at all. You go to site, we have it as well, where sometimes we don't know what's going on with a specific problem, and we use Google University as well, as we call it, because we can look up what the problem is and generally find a fix. But where the problem starts is when this starts costing your customer money. By money, we mean time. When you start billing the customer for your time when you get to site, and you're using that time to educate yourself on the problem, that becomes a problem. Because in my book, we shouldn't be using the customer's dime to educate ourselves. If, for example, you get to site, you realize there's a problem, you tell the customer, look, it's going to take me some time to figure this out, and then we will solve the problem for you. By all means, let the customer know what's going on. If they're happy to pay your time for it, no problems at all with that. Also, if it's a problem that hasn't been seen before, the customer needs to understand this, and you need to help the customer understand that they're going to be paying for your time to develop a solution to the specific problem. So, there's no hard and fast rules on how things should be. But the moral of the story is, if the job should take 2 hours and you're billing the customer 7 hours for that job, you're actually costing the customer money, one, and you're overbilling. Straight up, and it's as simple as that. So know what you're doing when you go to site and get the job done correctly, and nobody will have a problem with it. I've just seen it in the industry over the years. I've seen it in multiple industries, including the photography industry. I'm talking wedding photography now, and a lot of industries. And it's wrong. Teaching yourself about wedding photography on a wedding couple's day on their dime and screwing it up is not the right way to be doing business, any business for that matter. So guys, please get yourselves up to scratch or team with people that do. I've got a fantastic group of people that I work with. If they don't know what's going on, they're the first ones to tell you, and those are the people you want working with you. You don't want companies going on site, creating work and creating problems for you, because I've just had, over the years, many issues with this, and it keeps rearing its ugly head, and it's something that needs to be squashed out from all industries in my book. So vent over. Let's go and take a look at a computer in the beginning of this that I've been building up, which subsequently is now sold because that footage is a bit older. That machine has been sold to a client, my sister, funny enough, so I get to see it again. It's quite a nice build, that one. And then of course I also have a few other builds which I'm busy working on. In the background over here you can see I've got a couple of 24-inch full HD monitors I bought at a special price. Those are going to be going off to a customer soon too, so we'll review those monitors, the 24-inch full HD. We're going to do a brief review of the 25-inch LG 21:9, slightly more than full HD ultra wide monitor, and we'll also be getting the 29-inch version of that ultra wide 21:9 monitor soon for review purposes as well. So yeah, keep watching, and let's jump straight into the build of that i5 computer. Right, so yeah, down on the bench you can see we've got the machine set up. Just excuse the audio, I am roaming around. This has been recorded on the new Samsung mic, so I'm still getting used to the levels, etc. So here you get the basic build. The motherboard in question is an AFOX board. I've never dealt with AFOX before, so I don't know if it's going to be any good or not, but it's the only H61 series board that I could find that supports the 2nd, 3rd gen i5, i7 chips. So we've got the i5 chip installed. We've got 2x4 gig DDR3 modules installed. We haven't got a graphics card on here yet. We've only got the one hard drive connected to here, which is on this cage. If you look just inside there, you can see the Transcend 128 gig SSD. We've got a brand new aftermarket deep cooler heatsink fan on here, which is actually screwed to the board. Then of course they've got the nice Sharkoon lit fan at the back, two in the front, which we'll show you guys in a little bit, and plenty of space for additional hard drives. I mean, you've got this, and a third rack off camera. Let's just show you here down there. So there's plenty of space. Oh yes, and of course here you've got the 450 power supply just to get it going. So yeah, everything looks quite neat and tidy, I must say. If we get in a little bit closer over here, we can see more of the board, the cable management. I'm not too happy with this being here. I'm thinking of routing it behind this blue panel. And as you can see, we've tried to stick with blue throughout. Blue trims on the board, albeit a lighter blue. Blue fan on the CPU heatsink, blue background, blue lit fans, and of course the blue housings which came with the chassis for the hard drives. So yeah, all in all, quite a nice, neat looking machine. Now I'm just going to take you a little bit around this machine so you can see how everything looks and how it sort of comes together. Now if you take a look around inside the machine here, I'm just giving you a bit of a handheld shot. You've got your PCI Express slot ready. I'm going to route these cables away from that. I'm going to add a USB 3 card to this machine. You've got your nice deep cool cooler, and you've got that blue backlit fan. Let's actually show you what that blue backlit fan looks like in operation. Excuse the beeps, it's going to complain because there's no keyboard in the machine, but you'll get to see what these fans look like, which I think are really nice, to be honest. Okay, and off we go. You can see it almost gives it like a cross sort of look, which is nice. And then on the front of the machine over here, you've got two more. It really looks nice. It's quite a nice case, I must say. And just taking you a little bit around on things, you're going to get a bit of fan noise from the power supply now. I do apologize for that. You've got plenty of space again here for your hard drives. There is that SSD in there, the Transcend SSD that I was telling you about. Brand new. Everything inside this machine is new. Like I said, the only thing I'm unhappy with is this cable ream running over here. I want to try and route that behind, like I've done with the power supply, etc. over here. Quite nice all in all though. You'll get to see the final result shortly, and let me know what you think. Okay YouTube, so there you had the baseline of the build that I'm busy doing at the moment. There's a few machines I've been putting together of late, but that being one of the sort of nicer gaming rigs that I'm looking at putting together. I think the output in that machine is actually going to look really fantastic. There it is in the background. So I'll send some uploads and full-on reviews of the machine running, some benchmarks, etc. once everything's 100% completed with it. I need to get a few more cable ties to put it together before I start loading operating systems, etc. because I just think that it would finish it off nicely if I do that cable management properly up front. As you guys know, Evion has done quite a shift from the electronics repair to more the IT sort of stuff, and yeah, we're continuing to grow, get bigger, stronger and better, and we're also starting to do a lot more custom build PC stuff. So if there's something you guys are looking for, please feel free to get in touch, and we'll see if we can source the hardware for you, and of course help you put a really nice machine together. Anything from ITX builds. I'll still do a review of the Cooler Master white chassis machine, the one that's actually recording this audio, etc. It's a very basic sort of ITX Intel Pentium Celeron, whatever it is, board. 8 gig of RAM, and of course a SSD hard drive from Kingston, and a really powerful power supply. But I've also got a couple of other hard drives dumped in there, so I can use it a bit as a file server alongside my server rack as well. So yeah, that pretty much gives it from this episode. Just a few things to note about the Sharkoon chassis that I'm building that machine into. These guys over here, don't lose them, because without them you can't mount your hard drives inside those chassis. They need to have their custom sort of slides, etc. It does come with all the bracketing and whatnot in the box, ready for you to do your build, so there's no problems. Just make sure you don't throw any of it away, otherwise you're going to have a problem. Thanks for watching, and keep watching for the follow-on of this video where the machine is built, and then I'll take you for a video tour in HD, full around 360 around the machine, so you can see exactly what it looks like with the fans running. And I think I noticed a small issue with white balance, so the blue fans actually look purple, but I'll make sure I get the white balance right for the final video so you guys can see what the final build tower looks like. Guys, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.
Hello YouTube, welcome to this installment of the Avion blog. So on today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about my build for my computer. I recently picked up a 6th gen i3 3.7 gigahertz. And as you know, with these video edits and stuff like that, the machine that I had was working, was a little bit slow, but it got the job done. So I thought, well, let's build this little machine up and turn it into my new video editing machine. And just pretty much see how the performance would stack up. Now, I haven't gone overboard with graphics cards or anything like that, but I have built it quite nicely. And we're going to take a look now at how I'm speccing this machine out. And then obviously once it's all up and running, we'll have a look at how it actually performs. We'll benchmark it. So let's get down and have a look at the computer on the bench and see what it's all about. Right, so here on the bench we've got the Dell. This specific model is a Dell Optiplex 3040. It is an i3 6100 6th gen, 3.7 gigahertz. At the moment it has 4 gig of RAM and 1 stick in it. We are going to be putting in 16 gigs of RAM into this machine. It has a gigabyte NVIDIA graphics card, nothing too fancy. It came with, well, it's off camera at the moment, with a Toshiba 7200 RPM, 6 gigabit per second SATA hard drive, standard spindle disk. And I'm going to be adding the Intel SSD. This is the Intel SSD 540S series, 120 gig, which will be used as the operating system and software primary drive inside this machine. Quite a nice little hard drive anyway. And hopefully that'll also give it quite a nice substantial boost in performance with everyday sort of rendering work, etc. Why 120 gig? Well, it's enough. With all my software installed, I'm sitting at around 50-60 gigs. That leaves me with 60 gigs free for rendering or whatever the case may be, but I don't store video files or anything on the SSD. Well, not for long term anyway, so it should be sufficient, but also a lot of times I might be rendering directly to the Toshiba 7200 RPM drive. But yeah, so this is the machine. I was a bit concerned at first about adding a graphics card with a small power supply. This machine comes with, I think it was a 200 odd watts, 240 watt power supply. But when I had a look at the power rails, the 12 volt A rail is 16.5 amps, the 12 volt B rail is 16 amps, and positive 12 VSB is 2.5. So the two 12 volt rails is actually quite decent and should technically be enough, and it was enough to run the graphics card with single hard drive, etc. We're adding an SSD. This SSD I think is rated to 0.5 amps. Yep, 0.5 amps, so it'll run on a USB port. So it should be alright inside this machine. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As you can see, still nice and clean inside. The Dell builds are always very decent. I like the way they put their machines together. The only catch-20 is I don't find any bracketing that came with this machine for the SSD drive, which means either purchasing additional mounting or making some other form of plan. But we'll have a look at that as we go. So there you have the machine.
Hey guys, okay, so on to part 2 of this video. We're going to take a look at the Lenovo Mix tablet stroke PC. The one in question over here, I'm just seeing if it's on here. Yep, it's the Lenovo Mix 310 tablet, computer, laptop, whatever you'd actually like to call it. But yeah, it's kind of both. It's actually like a touchscreen laptop as well as a tablet, because the screen can be removed from the keyboard. Wow, well, how technology has changed over the years, eh? So I'm going to talk about the use of this Lenovo Mix 310. I use it out in the field for programming radio equipment, routers, etc. Because it's so portable, compact, it does a brilliant job. plus it's got USB functionality on the base of it. So as a field laptop, it's actually quite decent for getting the job done. So the basic spec on this machine is an Intel Atom X5 processor. It's got 2 gig of memory, and it's got 32 gigs of onboard storage, SSD storage. Not really SSD, but NAND storage. And it can be expanded with the SD card, micro SD card. I've got a 64 gig micro SD in here as a secondary, or 32, I can't actually remember, but anyway. And of course, it can take a SIM card, which is brilliant out in the field if you need to look up something or check your emails or whatever the case may be. You can either use it in tablet form by pulling the screen off the keyboard dock and using it, or you can use it as a mini laptop. Of course, you can plug in other mouses, etc., but the keyboard on here and the touchpad is quite fine for everyday sort of field use. So let's take a closer look at this machine, and you guys can be the judge of what you think of it, the build quality, the look, etc. It's busy doing some Windows updates, and it's on charge because the battery was flat, but at least you can get an overall look, a close-up look of the keyboard layout, etc. And we'll talk a little bit about the machine. Right, so here you have the Lenovo Mix open. As you can see, it's got quite a nice fluid sort of opening and closing mechanism. Quite a nice sort of aluminium featured shell over here. All the information stickers, etc. at the bottom, and I see it does have a little webcam or camera on the back. So for sort of standard tablet functionality sets, you know. People like taking pictures at weddings and stuff using these tablets, but I think it's nuts. But anyway, that's their decision. So you can see we've got your touchpad, you've got your keyboard, and you've got your screen. Now the thing with these devices, like I said, excuse that it is on charge at the moment, is you can detach them from their dock and use them in tablet mode, like so. And now you have a tablet computer that you can carry around with you however you want. It's got its own LTE built in, etc. And then of course when you want it in laptop format, you slot it on. This one connects with magnets, and you've got your laptop with your keyboard. And then it's going to ask you to go back, and you can say yes. So now you got your touchscreen laptop. Now put it closer up. Let's have a look at the keyboard. And you can see the keyboard, although compact, is quite nicely sort of designed and laid out, for want of a better word. There's a few little niggles that I've had with this keyboard. One of them being the position of the backspace being here. I don't know, just something doesn't feel very intuitive about it, but it does the job. So I can't complain too much. As for the touchpad, down below, it's your standard sort of laptop touchpad with your left and right click. Everything pretty much on par with what normally you'd expect on a laptop type device. As for connectivity, let's just take a look here. On the dock, you've got a collapsed, what they call a fold-away sort of type USB connector on this side, and you've got another one on this side over here. And then on the actual tablet itself, you've got a headphones jack here, a speaker on that same side, by the way, and then on this side over here you'll find another speaker. You will find your volume rocker, your power button, your charge. You will find a USB, micro USB connection over here, and you'll find a micro HDMI connection, your charge light, your microphone, and your there you go. And then you've got your slot over here for your trans flash or your SD card and your SIM card. So it's got all the sort of connectivity that you'd expect or need from a mobile sort of device. Now, I was talking a little bit about my use of this said device. I use it out in the field for programming, like I said, routers, etc. And it's held up quite well. It seems to be a aluminium sort of casing, clamshell design casing, aluminium backed screen, and then of course you've got your sort of standard glass. I'm not too sure what the glass is used on here, etc., but it does hold up pretty well to everyday sort of use. So all in all, I've been pretty impressed with this machine. As for the size, closed up, it is quite compact. It is preparing to install some updates, so I'm not going to close it up now necessarily. I don't think it's necessary, but you guys can see the sort of beauty in this. It's kind of like a netbook with the functionality of a tablet, and portable enough to throw it in a small bag or whatever and carry it around with you to clients' premises, check your emails. Being a PC, it can run anything that a normal desktop PC runs. It comes preloaded with Windows 10, but it's a Windows 10 Home Edition, which is fine. Yeah, that's pretty much the baselines of this device. I'll let you know how it goes over the next couple of months, but so far I've been enjoying this machine for over a month now, and I've had no issues with it. It's kind of done the job. It's replaced an i5 laptop which was generally used out in the field. This is much more compact and simple to use, and it gets the job done. So yeah, that's it for the Lenovo Mix 310. Yeah, it's a all-around nice little device, guys. If you're looking for something, I know it's available on Vodacom contracts here in South Africa. It's definitely worthwhile and definitely a lot better than your Samsung Galaxy tabs.